Can y'all feel it? Can y'all feel the energy in this room? Wow. It is so good to see everyone. Wow, it's just good to be in person and not to see everybody in the screen. This is awesome. All right, so listen, I just got to give props to my wife, Erica. Let's hear it for her. I could not tell this woman thank you enough, even if I did it for 50 years, y'all. Like, she is amazing. And also to my incredible daughters. I think we got a picture of my family or something that we're going to pull up on screen here. Yeah, look at these beautiful people. All right, so my daughters, Elise and Aubrey. Elise and Aubrey stand, just wave to the crowd. Stand and wave. They didn't want to stand, y'all. And trust me, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it because when I get back in the room, they'll be like, Dad, you embarrassed us. So let me officially welcome all of you to the 2022 Bigger Together Conference, right? Now, here's the thing. I don't feel like this is a conference. The word is not conference. The word here is really, for many of us, this is a celebration, a reunion. But for all of us, this is about gathering together to be connected. Everything that we've made it through and everything that's to come. I'm so excited about what's to come. And I thank you for joining. I thank you for showing up. I thank you for being you. Being here today in this room, we are joined by 3,000 staff, in person and virtually. It's amazing that we're representing 400,000 bigs, littles, alumni, volunteers, supporters, families that we serve and make impact all across this country. And we have quite the experience happening this week. Yesterday, we were honored and inspired to kick off our festivities by celebrating Juneteenth and Father's Day. I have to say, it was an amazing performance by Karen Clark-Sheard. How many of y'all were there? Yeah. For those of y'all who were there, that performance was amazing. By the way, we found a new BBBS gospel star. Is Rob in the building? Rob anywhere in the building? He's somewhere about it. Rob, shut it up. All right, so we're also continuing our celebration of Pride Month and the belonging of the mentoring that we create. I also want to give a special shout out to the NLC Jedi Committee for championing this experience for all of us, of everything you saw last weekend. Thank you. Where's Gail and Marcus? Let's give Gail and Marcus a hand for their leadership. And listen, y'all, we got to set it out. I mean, we got to really show up and show out for this agency in Indianapolis, Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Indianapolis, and Darcy and her team and her leadership. Let's hear it for them. Now, before we get started, we need you posting. We need you posting on social media all throughout the week. Let folks know what's happening here. What you're doing with your Big Brothers, Big Sisters family. Hashtag Bigger Together. Make sure you're using it, folks. And I hope that you're already following BBBSA and my social media channels, right? This week and beyond. All right. So are y'all ready for this? No, y'all just heard my wife. We come from a certain family, call and response, y'all. I thought I heard NQ up here saying the energy we get, like you give, you get back. Are y'all ready for this week? That's what I'm talking about. So listen, when I look around this room, I have no doubt that you're ready for this week, and also you're ready for this moment. And there's no theme that could better represent our shared story these past few years than Bigger Together. This morning, I want to talk to you about just that, about being bigger together and growing together. It's a story about you. It's a story about us. It's a story about the young people we serve and the journey we walk on together to empower them. And it is fitting for me to share this story in chapters, because through trial, tragedy, and triumph, we are writing a grand story page by page with our best pages yet to be written. Our first chapter finds us on a challenging journey, the toll of a global pandemic, a reckoning on race in America, an assault on our nation's capital, financial scarcity in our households and communities, violence in the places we hold most dear, and a vocal culture of isolation, dissension, and even hate. You don't go through what we've been through without scars, emotionally, physically, mentally. And these scars, they run deep with the young people and the communities we serve. Nearly 11 million kids live in poverty. 13 million kids face mental health challenges like depression. The height of the pandemic, 20% of our kids lost contact with an important adult in their life. And too many kids nationwide don't have the positive mentorship they need to navigate it all. But here's the thing, this trauma is not just related and limited to our kids, but to us as well. Each of you continue to carry the enormous weight of serving the kids and communities who need us most. And in the darkest of times, many of us have felt personally and professionally drained. That it was hard to take that next step, to carry a smile, to be that rock for someone when you were carrying so much yourself. But despite it all, despite the tragedy, trauma, and pain, you persevered. You worked tirelessly to make lives better, communities stronger, and opportunities accessible so that more kids would have opportunity and to be able to have the impact in our lives. And you didn't do it alone. How many of you in this room had late night or early morning calls with someone in this network, maybe even in this room, who became your on-demand therapist and you became that for them? How many of you in this room can say that despite it all, you are still standing because someone else said, I see you and I'm with you, and it inspired you even more to be a hero for the kids in your community who need you most? I've seen firsthand what true superheroes look like. They look like you. They are able to leap tall buildings and even taller challenges. They wear a bead on their chest because they believe in bold action to accomplish big things. They defend potential and in some cases, avenge adversity. They often wear masks because they don't prefer the recognition. And they even wear capes so they can fly from one meeting to an event to a partnership in record time. They are superheroes that don't see themselves as saviors, rather people who empower the hero in every child. And finally, they always believe, no matter the circumstance, history, or challenge, we can accomplish more together than we can apart. See, the trauma we face over the past few years are not moments we desire, but they are moments that define us and determine the legacy we'll leave for our future. This is what being bigger together means. It's being more connected, more aligned, more trusting, not only for ourselves, but for our future. And it is what will transform mentorship forward over the next decade to change more lives, communities, and our country for the better. But to do this, we must lead. This past year, we've been on a leadership journey, and our leadership as a network, and that's been thanks to you. We've spent time on our strategic plan, thinking, discussing, designing, and planning for both today and tomorrow. more than 300 listening sessions, focus groups, multiple agency-wide surveys and feedback polls, our most robust assessment of our alumni, volunteers, and donors in a decade, and peer-to-peer discussions for the past 15 months identifying best practices. And it's led us on a bold path to a big future that we introduced at last year's conference to empower every young person we serve on the path to graduate with a plan for their future and a mentor whose impact lasts a lifetime. To accomplish this big, hairy, audacious goal, we affirmed 3 guiding principles. And those guiding principles was about defining our future together. First is our most important truth, that our mission was created for all young people to have access to opportunity and positive relationships. You have heard me say it before. We were born out of justice to create more equity for our kids, bringing together diverse communities so that all kids can feel included for the promise of opportunity and a better life. JEDI means welcoming young people into our circle and ensuring no child in our community feels marginalized from opportunity based on their backgrounds, their beliefs, and their identity. It's like little sister Sammy from Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northeast Indiana. Where y'all at? See, Sammy's a first-generation Mexican-American who came to the United States at age 6. She was very quiet and shy when she first met her big, Maggie. Fast forward to the day, and Sammy earned a Lilly Endowment Community Scholarship, is a first-generation college student attending the University of Notre Dame. And earlier this month, Sammy completed her internship on Capitol Hill. Think about this. Sammy, once described by her family, her friends, and big sister as quiet, is now poised to pursue a career in immigration, human rights law, and even a run for political office. Welcome, President Sammy. There are countless stories like Sammy that you empower every day. And yet, in some communities, we may encounter thoughtful questions about our JEDI commitment. Some may wonder, does JEDI apply to my agency's work if we don't primarily serve communities of color? The answer is a resounding yes. Our JEDI commitment is more than demographics. It's about opportunity. If there is one single kid in your community who feels left out, lonely, disregarded, or just needs the power of someone in their life, then JEDI applies to you. If your agency needs to be more representative on its board, staff, and volunteers to the communities you serve, then JEDI applies to you. If you want your community to be stronger allies for helping kids break the barriers of poverty, injustice, and isolation they often face, then JEDI applies to you. Since we launched our JEDI training last year, more than 3,000 staff and volunteers have participated. We launched the JEDI Council comprised of thought leaders and experts that informed and guided our JEDI work. We've offered more than 1,000 resources, learning, and developmental webinars in JEDI topics related to our mentoring work. We are building a collaborative team of agencies, staff, partners, and developing the resources that we need to ensure you're able to implement JEDI in your local communities. Now, later in the conference, you will hear from the NOC JEDI Committee, as well as our National JEDI Advisory Council on more plans ahead. I am proud of our JEDI journey, but know we have much more distance to walk. But kids need you to be a JEDI and let the force of what you do empower their lives. Hope y'all got that Star Wars reference, by the way. Anybody got that? Now, the next principle here is our most important distinction. This is our mentoring experience. We have the most effective youth-centered one-to-one mentoring approach in this country, bar none. Our innovation and impact is everywhere, but we have to recognize and share our work even more. See, when I was growing up, in my neighborhood, we had this expression. It was a hip-hop expression. It's called big ups. Does anybody remember big ups? Like, all right, we got a few people. Now, because I'm probably dating myself here a little bit, but see, big ups was this sign of respect, right? Approval when you're, like, to your friends, like when they accomplish something. So, for example, like, when your boy got a new car, you said, big ups. When your cousin graduated from high school, big ups. When you went to prom with the girl or boy you've been wanting to date for a long time, everybody said, big ups. So, we're going to try a little something here. When I point to you, I want you to say big ups. Any and every time I point to you. Everybody got that? You going to say it loud? Yes. All right, here we go. Big ups. To big brothers, big sisters of Low Country in Charleston, South Carolina. On this Get Futures program, reaching BIPOC youth and partnering with Starbucks to expose kids to mock interviews, workplace etiquette, and summer employment experiences. To BBBS of Flagstaff for their Step Up Mentoring Program, which partners with the juvenile court system to reach justice impact youth with group mentoring activities around life skills, healthy behaviors, and access to community services. To Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Eastern Mass, where they match littles of all ages with college students and bring littles on college campuses for programming to affirm the idea, if you can see it, you can be it. To BBBS of Central Arizona for their partnership with the Phoenix Indian Center, where Native American high school youth are matched with mentors who take into account not only their career readiness, but engage in cultural relevancy to respect and appreciate community heritage and tradition. And finally, to BBBS of Coastal and Northern New Jersey, for engaging parents and volunteers of littles in ongoing series and trainings and discussions and understanding opioid addiction, so that many mentors who support our young people are informed, inspired, and connected to each other. This list could go on forever because there's so many examples, because your programs are making such a difference. And what you told us clearly is that you want more kids to have access, more volunteers to join, and more donors to invest. To do this, our network has to define more clearly how we deliver, measure, and scale impact. And how do we do it with a level of consistency and customization? It begins with a culture of 1-to-1 plus. By affirming that we can be more than one thing to meet needs in our community without losing our core essence or tradition. Our mentoring experience can be about strengthening our core 1-to-1, plus expanding delivery to meet young people where they are with new innovations. It can be about keeping our kids safe through our standards and youth protection, plus giving staff and volunteers the autonomy and automation they need to spend their time on why they joined our mission in the first place. It can be about identifying a national set of outcomes to lift our kids and tell our story, plus providing agencies with resources and flexibility to tailor their outcomes for young people in their communities. And yes, it can be about growing the number of kids we serve, identifying all the ways we serve kids, plus understanding that we can grow strategically, that we can grow smartly based on the needs in our community. For the last 8 months, we have partnered with Bridgespan to facilitate discussions and learning across the network. We've had the guidance of an amazing group of agency leaders. Look at these names, folks. They're in this room. We can't do it without you. We can't do this work without our agencies leading the way with innovation, with partnership, with opportunity. We've done this in partnership with NLC and affinity groups. We've conducted 40 one-on-one sessions to understand in our respondents, including representation from 440 survey respondents, to get feedback, to get engagement, to get insights from all regions, from all sizes, from all tenures. You've told us that the national office, that you need us in a way that can help you most, that can elevate all agencies as we finalize the strategic plan this fall. We need your voice, but just as importantly, we need your commitment. In partnership with agency leaders in Brisbane, we're going to host action sessions throughout every day of this conference. These action sessions are more than just giving your feedback, though, your input. It's about how we partner, implement, and adopt ideas together. And as you attend these sessions, I encourage you to ask some questions. And ask them to yourself. What are you doing well? How can I apply this? How can we support each other? And very importantly, how can we partner together as a federation, agencies, and national office? In the weeks following this conference, we're going to share more on the latest of the theory of change, the way we're talking about outcomes and a set of outcomes, outlining our shared impact of outcomes, and mentoring experiences, how we think about delivering the various ways to make change and impact on young people's lives. We need you doing that with your teams, your board, your communities. And as we finalize the strategic plan this fall, we will provide materials and guidance on how to adapt the plan in your local community. Now, this all leads us to the third principle, which is our most important imperative. And that is to grow our impact on the kids we serve and widen the circle to reach more kids. And it takes us to the final chapter of our story. Big bets. To truly transform and grow lives in this country, we have to place a big bet on the people and the stakeholders to help us get there. It's absolutely from one agency to another, from an agency to a community. And it's very importantly from the power and the potential of the relationships between agencies and the national office. Over the last year, we've discussed a great deal about our network strategic frame, our reach, our relevancy, our revenue, our resources. These are accelerators for how we grow impact to create and achieve a vision together. Yet within each of these pillars, there's something deeper. There's a big bet we're placing that's more than about strategy. It's about people. See, enhancing and expanding the reach of our mentoring experience is a bet on young people themselves. We believe in their potential, so we as a network have to invest with the right resources to reach them. Now, to expand our reach, we are going to introduce something big, a network-wide impact agenda to more closely align and advocate agency programs and outcomes. Last year, we posted a VP of Program and Outcomes. Many of you may have seen that. And when we started to really look at this work, we quickly realized what was needed was we need to step back and we needed to listen to the voices of our agencies. And what we know now, going through this process, going through this journey, is that this is a significant direction, this is a significant moment, and we need the leadership to help take us in the direction that we can go. So I'm happy to announce that we're going to post a Chief Impact Officer for this network that can help to guide us, to engage a team of experts across our network, across national office, across our partners, to help us to frame a vision for program and outcomes across our country. This will be done in collaboration and partnerships with all agencies within the network. This role will work together to make Match Force more seamless, automated, and customer-friendly for staff and volunteers. We'll align on a defined set of outcomes to more powerfully guide our programs, tell our story, and engage our donors. We'll pilot and scale innovation with our core program and expand diverse mentoring experience to meet kids where they are. And very importantly, we'll launch a network-wide volunteer engagement strategy that elevates promising practices to attract and retain the mentors that we need. Now, to extend our reach, it also requires a more relevant brand. And becoming more relevant means betting on the people who are the greatest champion of our mission, our alumni. We have an estimated 20 million alumni and champion all across this country. Yes, they consist of some of the many names and faces that you see here, right? All the people you love, all the people you see on TV, right? But what's most powerful are the groups and names you don't see, the everyday heroes who change lives in local communities. Over the past several weeks, we've conducted the most comprehensive audience survey of Big Brothers, Big Sisters in nearly a decade. We surveyed and held focus groups of alumni bigs, littles, potential donors, volunteers, including hundreds of men of color, to dig in who they are, what attracts them to our mission, what are the barriers, and how they want to get involved. This week, you'll hear more from Adam Fasalo, Chief Marketing Officer, and Devon Williams, Chief Communications Officer, about the incredible insights we've learned and how you can use this data in your local community. Get to know these folks. They're great people too, by the way. Leverage these insights, and taking all of this feedback, I have no doubt we can bring 1 million alumni into this mission, back into this mission. But we'll need to do it together to harness our story. It starts with joining together to launch a fully scaled, fully resourced alumni and champions outreach initiative to kick off in September 2023. Let me say that again. September 2023. Big Brothers, Big Sisters Month. This will give us a full year runway to prepare as a network and to share our stories. And on the same timeline, we want to have as many agencies as possible trained, onboarded, and supported by our network-wide CRM so that each of us can not only collect names, but we can build long-term relationships with the people who love us most. And speaking of the people who love us most, growing and sustaining our revenue is about betting on partners and donors who share our values. In the past 3 years, we've seen immense growth in partnerships of all kinds supporting our network. In the last year alone, more than 37 corporate partners have joined and renewed their support with us. We've more than doubled our media partnerships to help tell our collective story. We've seen increased federal government revenue totaling up to $12 million. And we've built nonprofit alliances that are supporting and helping us to include our reach in the communities that we serve. Now, while we've experienced more momentum, we know there's much more to be done. Not every agency is receiving the support they need from their community. The reality is that long-term and sustainable revenue typically lags behind growing relevancy, which is why we are establishing a unified and compelling case for support that resonates with training and partnership of our agencies, that this is a need for a key initiative that we'll accomplish together as one unified network over the next few months. Agencies in partnership with the NLC Development Committee, we're going to work to ensure that we release a first wave of tools, resources, and trainings in September to help fuel fundraising and cultivation on a local level. This is the foundation of growing and sustaining a culture of philanthropy. We also recognize the importance of pass-through. It is a lifeline for many of our agencies. I also understand that at times it can be both rewarding and it can also be a little painful, right? Frustrating to receive it, to not receive it, to go through grant expectations. The national office is committed to assessing current trends of pass-through around our network, to evaluating our process for grant and report submissions and expanding access and opportunities to more agencies as we move into our strategic plan. What I'm sharing with you is not the big, bold, all the different things that make you feel good. It's the brass tacks that we have to do to move and excel as a network. Last year, I shared a lot about goals and vision. This year, it's about putting those things into reality because that's how we transform as a network. Our first step is to increase and sustain both dollars and in-kind value from our value-centered partners and donors. And this doesn't happen without all of us having a I win when we all win mentality. And what does that mean? It's thanks to your leadership that we are building some successful models of how we win together. Back again, big ups to our big brothers, big sisters agencies in New York City, Puget Sound, Lone Star, that exemplified our we win mentality by bringing partnership opportunities with Deloitte, T-Mobile, Aldi to scale the support to the broader network. Now it's fitting that, and it's really fitting that that final big bet is our greatest resource. Our greatest resource that can help us thrive and grow is none other than you, our people. Now, when I think about our people, and it's without a doubt that we need more connection across our network. It means being more present, nimble, and a customer-focused national office. It also means things about our network. Agencies being committed to working in partnership nationally and across the network like never before. So we are taking 2 first steps to bet big on our people. The first is called the hub model. It's our field services approach to put boots on the ground and provide direct capacity building services to agencies that help more volunteers, donors, partners, and ultimately young people walk through your doors. Now, is it about structure? Like having a clear national liaison to help cater more effective needs and opportunities and diversity of agencies so that we serve the different styles of agencies that we have better? Yes. Is it about connection? Like empowering and giving a platform for more agency-to-agency mentoring, training, and support services? Yes. Is it about equity? Like supporting agencies who may have the greatest need during a pivotal time to enhance or turn around their services? Yes. But the thread across it all is culture. That the idea of a federation means family. The conversation is less about us and them, my backyard, our affinity group, my zip code, or even national versus the rest of the country. I understand and appreciate that there's history in our network, in our organization. Trust me, there's history in every organization about what happened and what didn't happen. But here's the thing. There's one word that should define our future and our approach as we move forward. We. We can. We must. We will. We must. It's called being synced with the PowerPoint, guys. Over the next 6 months, we will work together to gain insights and launch the first phase of this model in 2023, starting with how we will structure the leadership of this work in collaboration with NLC and our affinity groups. Look out for these announcements and get ready to roll up your sleeves. The second step is growth and development of our people across the network. By a show of hands, how many of you have worked for, or if you're a board member, volunteered for Big Brothers Big Sisters for less than 1 year? Show of hands. Wow. 1 to 5 years. 6 to 10 years. 11 to 20 years. All right, here we go. More than 20 years, y'all. Let's hear it. Think about the richness that we have in this room. Think about the experience, the wisdom, everything that we have to offer to each other. We have to be more connected than ever. And we've said it time and time again, we are the leading youth mentoring organization in the country. So we have to lead first by mentoring our own people. This is why I'm so excited about the BBBS Leadership Village. In simple terms, it is about giving our staff a level playing field to learn, to grow, to develop their career and personal journey in our mission. And it supports our volunteer experience and deeper engagement to really understand the case for our journey. Imagine if we created a multi-track learning and development effort that deepens our culture of mentorship through professional development in every BBBS professional and volunteer. Think about this. Our frontline staff, customer relations, enrollment, match specialists, not only need to be equipped with resources, but the belief that they have a future career in this network. Oh yeah, you can clap. Our more emerging leaders need visibility and line of sight of how they lead today, but also the transition, the move to the next stage of their career tomorrow. Our CEOs and boards need the executive development and coaching from their peers, as well as that executive development and coaching from the industry and influencers that we can bring and harness together. We call this a leadership village because it takes all of us to raise each other. And when we do it right, it looks like this. This is our newest cohort of CEOs and executive directors in the organization. Most have been in this network for less than a year. Their success is our success. I'm proud of each and every one of them and their commitment to our work and to our future. The way we mentor them, as well as others, no matter your tenure, determines the difference between a thriving and struggling agency. And even more, it defines the difference between our network staying stagnant or our network staying strong. Making these bets, big bets, on our future is why we have to be bigger together. And it is why we created the Bigger Together Fund. The idea of this fund was actually born through agency focus groups more than a year ago. The fund is about investing in our 5-year strategic plan and capacity building for our local agencies so that our network and agencies can be strong today, but also that they can be strong 1, 5, 10, 20 years from now. For more than a year, we have been planning to use this fund to generate revenue for our network and the critical initiatives and capacity building items I just outlined. But what none of us, and I mean none of us, knew at the time is that we were going to receive a transformative gift that would be a catalyst to our entire network. I'm so excited, incredibly excited for the 38 agencies who received this funding, as I'm sure you are as well. They deserve it. And what they'll do in their communities, as well as lifting up this mission, will be phenomenal. I'm also keenly aware that some 200 agencies who are making tremendous impact in their communities didn't receive this funding this time around. And it's understandable there are mixed emotions of being happy and excited for your peers, and at the same time, disappointed that your agency wasn't part of this gift. And let me be clear, there are many more than 38 agencies across this network that are getting it done and impacting kids and communities like no other organization. I'm proud of you. We're proud of you. And know that one gift, whether you received it or not, doesn't define your legacy of impact. It's the collection of donors, supporters, volunteers who have and will continue to support the work that you do. We established this fund to make the most of this moment for all of us. The Bigger Together Fund is not intended to replace funding or to be a Band-Aid fix. Rather, it's about elevating all of us, empowering each of us, and resourcing our big bets so that agencies can have big moments, big gifts all across their communities for the long term. And I'm proud that our corporate partners and donors are stepping up to express how they can support as well. And you're going to hear more about that and some really inspiring announcements this week on this stage. And one of the most exciting updates to share with you is the response we're already seeing from agencies who were funded. I'm proud of those agencies. So many of us have already raised and engaged in a way to say, how can we help? What can we do? While none of us, agencies or the national office, can control how this gift was decided, distributed, managed, what we do decide is how we build together from this point. We decide how we engage in trust, support, and belief in each other. Because when the headlines are gone and the immediacy of this feeling dissipates, what we have left is what's most powerful. It's each other. So, this is the story that we're writing together. These are the chapters that are defining our direction today. But what's most profound is we are not the only authors of this story. In fact, we're not even the main authors of this story. The true impact of our work are the stories and chapters that have yet to be written. The ones by young people who will take our narrative, our guidance, our mentorship, and make it their own. And this book will grow bigger and bigger and bigger with millions of stories to come. And at some point, when we all look back on our story together, I hope what we see are the lives changed, the people we influenced, the villages we created. And as you pass your story on to the next generation, I also hope that they are left with one moment, one mission, and one message. I didn't do this alone. We did it together. Thank you, everyone. We did it together.